Good evening, everyone. Thank you, board, for coming today, tonight for our meeting. Thank you for the audience for coming. It's wonderful. We just would ask that you try to remain socially distanced, so 6 feet apart from anybody not in your group, your pod, or however you define it. And everybody does have to keep their masks on. We'll try to talk with our masks on. The video of this meeting is being broadcast on cable television, YouTube, and will be also available on Facebook and will be posted to the village website. Clerk Burns, would you please call the roll?
My pleasure. Trustee Augustine.
Here.
Trustee Gale.
Here.
Trustee Holder. Trustee Katinik.
Here.
Trustee McCarty.
Here.
Trustee McGee.
Here.
President Kukler.
Here. And Trustee Holder is on vacation traveling, so unable to attend today. At this time, I would ask that we have Bella and Devin Gillingham lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. You just have to shout or go over, whichever you prefer.
Allegiance
To the flag.
United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation.
Under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. At this time, it's my pleasure to welcome Thomas West, our most recent hire in the police department. Police Officer Thomas West, on Wednesday, September 2nd, the Board of Fire and Police Commissioners appointed Tom West to the position of probationary police officer to fill an existing vacancy. Tom has worked as a telecommunicator in the Lyons Township Area Communications Center, which is our dispatch center, since its inception in March of 2017. And prior to that, he worked as an auxiliary officer for the Western Springs Police Department. Tom has also worked in private security. Tom has a Bachelor of Arts degree in criminal justice from Governors State University and an Associate of Arts from Triton College. Tom attended Riverside Brookfield High School and graduated in 2009. On Friday, February 26, 2021, Tom completed his training in the Suburban Law Enforcement Academy at the College of DuPage in Glen Ellen. The academy training was for 14 weeks in duration. Tom has returned to the Grange Police Department for an additional 14 weeks of field training with a specially trained police officer. We're pleased to present Tom West to the Village Board, and I would invite Tom to step forward, Village Clerk Burns to administer the oath of office.
If you would, repeat after me. I,
I,
Thomas West,
Thomas West,
having been appointed
to
the office of police officer
the office of police officer
in the village of LaGrange
in the village of LaGrange
in the county of Cook,
in the county of Cook,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the state of Illinois,
of the state of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office of police officer
the duties of the office of police officers
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Officer West, congratulations on your appointment. Thank you for your commitment to LaGrange, and thank you to all your fellow officers for their commitment. We appreciate it, and if there's ever anything the board can do, please let us know. We do appreciate all your service. Thanks. The next matter is more bittersweet, I know, for the board as well as the village staff, and that is for the resolution of appreciation for Ryan Gillingham. We've obviously appreciated all of Ryan's contributions, but unfortunately, we're doing this resolution today because he will be leaving us shortly, and his family is going to be moving to a suburb outside of Dallas, Texas, where Ryan has a fantastic opportunity, and I know that the family's excited for the adventure. So at this time, I would ask if there's a motion and a second to approve a resolution, and then I'll read the resolution, assuming we get that.
Make a motion to approve the resolution honoring Ryan Gillingham.
And second.
Thank you, trustees. I appreciate it. We do have a couple of things for the Gillingham new house down in Texas. One will be the proclamation or resolution that I'm going to read, and Ryan maybe will hang that in his office. And we also did a great job of getting this, a picture of the Stone Avenue train station, or either his house or his office. So, whereas Ryan Gillingham joined the Village of LaGrange in October of 2008 as Director of Public Works, whereas Ryan successfully undertook many projects, both small and complex, to protect and modernize the village's infrastructure and systems, including installation of the village's Geographic Information System, GIS, installation of a fiber optic network throughout the village's facilities, construction of a new water plant, drafting standard processes and agreements for consultants, spearheading green initiatives, including permeable pavers for the village parking lots, creating an inventory, and managing process for the village's urban forest, and many other beneficial and forward-thinking initiatives. Whereas Ryan has served LaGrange each day with determination, leadership, passion, and kindness for those he has worked with. And whereas Ryan has been an integral part of the village's management team, and whereas Ryan provided exceptional service to the residents of LaGrange through his dedication, empathy, and service-oriented approach, and whereas the sterling qualities described in this resolution do not by themselves represent Ryan, who has earned and always will have the admiration of the village staff, the Board of Trustees, commissions, and boards, and the public. And now therefore be it resolved that I, Mark Kukler, President of the Village of LaGrange, on behalf of the LaGrange Board of Trustees, the village clerk, the entire staff of the village, all the residents, businesses, we express our gratitude and deep appreciation to Ryan Gillingham for his service to the Village of LaGrange, and we convey our most sincere best wishes on his future endeavors. Thank you. At this time, if any trustee would like to add to the resolution, I would welcome it. Trustee McCarty.
Thank you, President Livingston.
And Kukler.
Old habits.
Wow. All right, forget it. Last week, thanks to Trustees Gale and Katinek, we had a very interesting discussion and worthwhile about balancing intrinsic value of what we do here in LaGrange versus the realized value in something as simple as painting a water tower. Ryan Gillingham works with those balances every day, works to balance the public good and the public need, the realized immediate cost savings and the long-term cost savings, the savings to our economy or the savings to our environment. Ryan's a master at balancing this. and generally well ahead of the curve on it. About a year and a half ago, the Environmental Quality Commission asked me to approach Ryan regarding the salting practices and were there environmental practices we could do that would be better and cheaper. And Ryan said, you could, but I've already done them. He was well ahead. He had changed the salting patterns. He had changed our application methods. He had made several changes that were both more cost-effective, more physically effective, and better for the environment. That's Ryan every single day. Whether it's a tree survey, whether it's working on the water service and his perennial challenge of the leaks. And Ryan, I think we've got some more out there, but you're leaving, we're gonna name them after you. Or sending the crew out at 9, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. We've all had that, seen that water repair crew out there. And that's something else that Ryan knew and understood. When I first started as a trustee, I asked him about why aren't we outsourcing more of this? And he said, well, there's several reasons, of course, as he always, I think Ryan started every comment with, well, there are several reasons. And inevitably there are, and there are always good reasons. And with that, he pointed out that, well, one, our people can do it cheaper. Two, those are valuable jobs that we should keep in the community. And three, those people like the work, and it's good work for them, and it's good for the community. And that was the first indication that Ryan's really somewhere else on another level when it comes to community service, and he believes in it. And that's really important, and it makes a huge difference in the way a town like LaGrange runs. I'm sorry to see you go. I know in 2045, when the Public Works Hall of Fame calls to initiate you into their class, we're gonna, in LaGrange, are gonna be proud to say, you played here first. Thanks a lot, Ryan.
Thank you, Trustee McCarty. Trustee Cortana.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, Ryan, I've sat up here for 6 years, and what I will say is that every meeting you continue to amaze me with your diligence on how you do your job, your passion for it, your integrity, your communication skills, just the way you balance everything. It is very, very impressive. It didn't take me 6 years to realize that. It actually took me probably the first or second meeting, and I have the utmost respect for the work that you do. And personally, you're just really a great guy. And what I would add to Trustee McCarty's comment, you know, what I also realize is that we're really blessed with a fabulous village staff, many of whom are here today. But Ryan, I have to tell you, if there's ever a Mount Rushmore of village staff for LaGrange, your bust would certainly be up there. So I wish you and the family well going forward. McKinney, Texas is getting a fantastic person, a fantastic professional leader of their department, and I wish you nothing but success. Thank you for all your work.
Trustee Augustine.
Thank you, President Kukler. You know, all of the things that can be said in a positive way about anyone would be said about you. And this village has hired so many wonderful people, and you are up there with the best of them. I'm a relatively new trustee, but I've been living in this town most of my life, moved back 2011, so you're already there. And the first conversation we had, I was just super impressed, and I continue to be in all the ways that everyone has said here. You're very down to earth. You'll spend a half hour with me as just a resident talking about the kind of tree I want in my parkway when the big guy went down. You'll sympathize with me over how much I miss that. You will talk to me, as you did most recently, about the water main break in my neighborhood. We went into detail, and I learned a ton from you because you have this way of explaining things like a professor, like one of your favorite professors. And that's more than valuable because you understand what's underground, what's above ground, the balance of economy versus ecology, and you're good with people, and you're deeply cared for by your staff and the people you manage. So things have run very, very well. We've been fortunate to have you all these years. We wish you the best of luck, but keep that same cell phone number if you would, because I may just call you to have interesting conversations again in the future. Thank you for everything.
Thank you, Trustee Augustine. Trustee Gale.
Thank you, President Kukler. Well, Ryan, you knew I was going to say something. So a lot of you may not know, I've known Ryan for over 20 years. we met over a mutual friend by the name of John Kerrigan. Now, back then, Ryan had more hair. I didn't need reading glasses. So things have changed a bit, but back in those days, we became mutual friends over our engineering careers. And we were known to, drink a few beers out into the early morning hours. And we were known to, meet at the Kerrigan's family Southside Irish Parade, which apparently you never missed, their parade party. And also, afterwards, if folks stick around, we had a nickname for Ryan. I'm not going to tell everybody, but I'll share it with everybody privately, since it's being recorded. But time passed. Ryan went and got his public policy degree. He went and got married. He had a couple kids. I went and got a law degree. I got married. I had a couple kids. And then one of my life's great moments of serendipity, I moved to Grange about 10 years ago. I'm looking up the local village leaders, and I see Ryan Gillingham's name as the Public Works Director. And I reach out, and Ryan and I reconnected and have been in touch since. I've gotten to work with him now as a trustee on the board for the last 4 years. And you're a fantastic Public Works Director. As Trustee Augustine was saying, you're able to boil down complex engineering concepts into things folks can understand. That's an incredibly valuable skill and tool, greatly appreciated. I wish you well. I look forward to re-encountering you again in another 10 years in some other serendipitous way. So, thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Gale. I spoke to Tom Livingston. He called me earlier today. He wanted to say that he was sorry that he isn't able to come today, and that he had a work commitment, and I think also a family commitment. But we were talking just what Ryan has meant to the village. And we were kind of almost speaking at the same time, and it was just service to the residents, top notch. Service to the board, to is either president or the board of trustees, top notch. Dedication to your team, unmatched. So we really do appreciate all you did. The village is tremendously better for your efforts. We're on the way. We have a lot of processes in place, and we will be able to continue on. The streets will be plowed. I've met with Ryan several times since he announced that he had to leave, and he's assured us that the streets will be plowed, that we're in great hands with Mike and the rest of the team, so I am confident that we can go forward. I do want to thank the Gillingham family. Ryan's put in a tremendous amount of hours here, took away from time as a husband and a father, so thank you for sharing. Thanks, Ryan. And we have this for you, so I don't know if you come up or we give it to you later, whatever you feel, and if you want to say anything, feel free.
Well, if I could say a few things, that would be
Sure.
That'd be nice, and I appreciate all the kind words. That's very, very nice, and I truly have appreciated working for such a wonderful village, in every aspect. The board has always been very professional and very supportive of me and Public Works and the staff, and I can't say thank you enough for that and for the opportunity that you gave me. I'd like to thank the residents. I've met so many wonderful. It's interesting when you've worked in a place for a long time, how you can drive down the street and then all of a sudden, oh, well, the person lives there, and the person lives there, and the different issues, and everybody in LaGrange is just wonderful, and it's a great community. I'd like to thank the staff that I've worked with, all the department heads, the police, fire, community development, finance departments. It's a wonderful staff. Everybody is very professional and great at their jobs, and it's been just a wonderful experience to work with everybody. I too would like to thank my family for the time that where I'm away. They've been very supportive, so thank you. But I'd also really like to thank the Public Works team. I know a lot of the accolades that you just said were directed at me. However, though, always know that there's a team behind that is just awesome. And they are great at their jobs. They're wonderful to work with. I've developed many close friendships, and I feel very fortunate to have worked with such a wonderful group of people. So with that, I just want to say thank you to LaGrange.
And thank you, Ryan. All right, moving on. Again, as we have for the last year, COVID, health officials continue to ask the residents to be patient as the supply of vaccines is increased, hopefully, and open appointments hopefully become available. I went into Walgreens before coming over here to ask if they had any appointments, if they're today or any other day, and the pharmacist explained that they've not had one appointment go unfilled. Even during the snowstorms, the blizzards, every one of their appointments that people have signed up for, people have come in and gotten their vaccines. So I think that's great that people that are signing up are doing it. I think it probably means that if we're looking at calling pharmacies to see if there's any openings, you're going to have to avoid the LaGrange Walgreens. Pillars reports that they've resumed their vaccine clinic last week, but again, that they have limited doses. If they get more doses, they said that they would extend it to our school teachers, and we're looking forward to that. Again, to make an appointment for the vaccine under Phase 1B, you have to visit vaccine.cookcountyill.gov or call 833-308-1988. Of course, it remains very important for everyone to continue to wear face coverings, watch their distance, wash their hands to help slow the spread and keep COVID metrics low. The hospital numbers are very low and encouraging, and the hospital remains open for all emergency as well as regularly scheduled appointments. So please don't avoid getting any medical care. The village will continue to keep residents updated as more information becomes available, generally by posting on our webpage. And the website will have as much comprehensive information regarding COVID-19 and vaccine administration as we can possibly gather. As previously reported regarding the stormwater, the quarry litigation, the tentative settlement agreement that we had a couple of years ago with Hanson Quarry expired at the end of 2020 without being able to be finalized. As a result, the title company that had put into an escrow account $9.1 million to fund the north or portion of the North Route sewer. Those monies pursuant to the agreement were returned to the title company and the quarry, including any accrued interest. We are scheduled to appear before the judge on Wednesday, and at that time, the village's attorneys will be again asking that the matter be set for trial. And it's our hope that the judge will make a ruling and we can move forward with our sewer plans. Brian's assured me that he will remain a valuable resource for us, both formally and informally, and I'm sure the legal department's planning to count on that. Very sad. There was a pedestrian train incident on February 23rd, a fatal incident involving a train and a pedestrian near Kensington and Burlington Avenues. On behalf of the village board and staff, we express our sincere condolences to the family and the many friends in the St. Cletus Parish and throughout the village. We also want to thank and recognize both the police, fire, and dispatch personnel that were all involved in responding to this tragedy. It was hard for everybody involved. This Saturday, we're going to have a budget workshop. It will be in this room, open to the public. It will be for capital operational expenses scheduled for Saturday, March 13th, beginning at 8 a.m. Face coverings and social distancing will be required. We invite everybody to attend, and we'd ask that you reserve that you're going to attend by emailing Village Manager Peterson at apeterson@lagrangeil.gov. That way we can just make sure that we have enough seats for you spread up farther apart. The preliminary budget documents are available at Village Hall. the library, and are posted on the village website. Public hearing regarding the proposed fiscal year 2021 and 2022 village budget will be held Monday, April 12th. And consideration of the proposed fiscal year 2021-22 village budget is scheduled for Monday, April 26th. Our next meeting, which is scheduled for March 22nd, has been canceled as a village tradition. We normally cancel the second meeting in March for spring break. The next regularly scheduled village board meeting will be held on Monday, April 12th at 7:30. And I think that's my complete report. Is there a village manager report?
Thank you, Mr. President. The village offers a free brush pickup service once per month from April through November, starting on the first Monday of the month. Types of brush include tree branches and shrub trimmings. Residents are invited to put these items out for pickup on the Sunday prior to the week, but no later than 7 a.m. on the first Monday of each month. Brush pickup generally starts on the east end of the village one month and then on the west end of the village the following month. The brush pickup program takes about 1 to 2 weeks to perform, depending on weather and other factors. For more information regarding the brush pickup program, including dates that brush pickup begins and how to prepare your brush for the pickup, please visit the village website at lagrangeil.gov. Thank you very much.
Thank you. At this time, I would ask Clerk Burns to read the items on the consent portion of the agenda, followed by those items under the current business.
Certainly. Matters on the consent agenda will be considered by a single motion and vote because they have already been fully considered by the board at a previous meeting or have been determined to be of a routine nature. Any member of the Board of Trustees may request that an item be moved from the consent agenda to current business for separate consideration. Item A, ordinance. Design review permit number 111, 75 South LaGrange Road, Milk Money Brewing, LLC. Item B, agreement. Christopher B. Burke Engineering, Central Business District, streetscape improvements. Item C, purchase, water wall barriers. Item D, minutes of the Village of LaGrange Village Board of Trustees, regular meeting, Monday, February 22nd, 2021. Item E, consolidated voucher 210308. And under current business, item A, ordinance text amendments relating to Articles 3 through 9, 14, and 16 of the LaGrange zoning code.
Thank you, Clerk Burns. At this time, I'd ask if there's anybody in the audience that has any comments on matters that are on the agenda. Seeing none, Village Manager Peterson, did anybody submit any comments to be read?
No public comments were received, Mr. President.
All right. At this time, I would ask if there's a motion and a second on the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Thank you, Trustee Kotinik.
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Gale. Trustee Augustine.
Thank you, President Kukler. As previously stated, I recuse myself from voting items on the agenda as they relate to the village prosecutor.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, Clerk Burns, if you could call a roll call vote.
Certainly. Trustee McGee.
Aye. Aye.
Trustee McCarty.
Aye.
Trustee Augustine.
Aye.
Trustee Gale.
Aye.
Trustee Kotinik.
Aye.
And the consent agenda passes unanimously. Under the current business, we have one item. And again, it is the ordinance text amendments relating to Articles 3 through 9, 14, and 16 of the LaGrange zoning code. And I would ask those to be introduced by Trustee Augustine.
Thank you again, President Kukler. At every level of government, there are codes to guide us. They are nothing new and used widely. They help us govern and keep certain common issues in line, from fence heights to chicken coops. As time passes, of course, things change and our codes must change too, so this village reviews them periodically. Tonight, as part of that yearly review of our LaGrange zoning code, the code, our staff has identified several sections of the code for amendments. And the Plan Commission, made up of your fellow residents as well, has conducted a public hearing in multiple sessions earlier this year. And after deliberation, the commission voted unanimously to recommend the text amendments below, summarized below. First and foremost, trellises and arbors. A recent variation application sought relief from the code regarding the maximum length of trellises proposed in a front yard. The single-family residential district provisions of the code allow trellises and arbors to be constructed in the required front yard so long as no horizontal element is greater than 6 feet in length. At a public hearing for the variation, the Zoning Board of Appeals, or the ZBA as we call them, discussed that the code did not clearly address a situation where multiple trellises, 6 segments, exist on one property. The code does not include a minimum spacing requirement in that situation. The proposed amendment would establish a minimum spacing for trellises and arbors in front and corner side yards of 6 feet. The proposed amendment is consistent with the ZBA's recent findings and will help differentiate between trellises and arbors and other accessory structures such as fencing. I'm all for this next one, solar energy systems. In 2018, the village was awarded Bronze Soul Smart status for its efforts to reduce barriers for solar panel installation. The proposed amendments related to solar energy systems are intended to provide more clarity to residents, contractors, and design professionals, and to serve to further reduce barriers for additional solar installation opportunities. The code currently regulates the allowable height of solar panels using the term peak of the roof. However, some houses have multiple roof peaks. The proposed text amendment will clarify that the solar panels cannot extend above the tallest point of the overall roof structure to which they are attached. Additionally, the proposed amendment will clarify that the panels cannot extend more than 6 inches above the roof to which they are attached. As currently written, solar panels are permitted on single-family residences, which is not a defined term in the code. To explicitly allow for solar panels on detached garages, the proposed amendment will allow solar panels on accessory buildings in addition to homes in single-family residential districts. On the home, the code would continue to prohibit solar panels from facing the front lot line unless the front lot line is a south lot line. The proposed amendment will allow solar panels on detached garages to face the front lot line so long as the detached garage is located within the rear 30 feet of the lot. Next code amendment is regarding mechanical equipment, ground-mounted air conditioning units in residential districts, and this just keeps getting more exciting. The code prohibits AC units and other mechanical equipment such as generators located in the required front, corner side, and interior side yards. AC units are allowed in the required rear yard. These provisions have been in place since 1991. An AC unit can be located on the side of a house if the AC unit is not within the required side yard. The code requirement for AC units effectively establishes a minimum setback for these mechanical structures. From time to time, the village has become aware of residents that moved their AC unit without a permit to non-conforming locations within the required interior side yard. As a result of a resident inquiry requesting to maintain an AC unit in a non-conforming location, the Plan Commission discussed local permit history, neighboring communities, zoning requirements for mechanical equipment, survey of existing conditions, housing tenure, the length of times, of course, that the residents have lived here, costs to modify non-compliant equipment, and other information. After extensive review, the Plan Commission voted 5-0 to recommend amendments to the locational requirements for new mechanical equipment and the provisions for replacement of existing equipment. The proposed amendment would streamline the locational requirements for mechanical equipment located within the required rear and interior side yards to a minimum setback of 5 feet from all property lines. Placement of mechanical equipment in the required front and corner side yards is not proposed to change and would remain prohibited. The proposed amendment will also allow the replacement of existing mechanical equipment that does not meet the proposed 5-foot setback or existing yard restrictions, so long as the equipment was in existence in its current location as of the date of the ordinance adopted. This will allow all non-compliant mechanical equipment existing as of March 8th, 2021 to be replaced as is with the submission of supporting documentation. This next one is regarding personal wireless facilities. We updated the language here to clearly differentiate from the small wireless facilities, which have to do with public cell towers, things like that. So this is regarding, it regulates the other antennas such as television antennas, satellite dishes, and amateur ham radios. The proposed amendment clarifies that such antennas are allowed only as an accessory to use to the principal use on the property where antenna is located. And the following amendments are intended to aid in consistent enforcement of current zoning regulations by clarifying portions of the zoning code and are considered more housekeeping in nature. First up is administrative adjustment fees. The administrative adjustment, called AA process, this was created to facilitate approvals of minor variations without requiring applicants to complete the more lengthy and costly variation process. The AA process is a streamlined version of the typical variation process with no public hearing requirement. Notices are mailed to neighboring properties within 150 feet of the applicant properties, and the approval letter is recorded with Cook County against the property. The current fee for the application is $100 as established in section 14-704 of the code. Cook County has recently raised the price of the document recording. The proposed amendment will therefore raise our fee to $250 to account for the increased recording costs from Cook County and absorb the other related mailing and staff time costs associated with evaluating and processing these requests. By comparison, a full variation application on average costs a homeowner approximately $1,500. And last but not least, definition of porch. In 2018, staff proposed an amendment to the code to include definition of porch. Yes, your front porch. At the time, porch was not defined. After deliberation by the Plan Commission and approval of the Village Board, the new definition of porch became a one-story roofed structure attached to the plane of the building with at least one unenclosed side. Since that time, staff has received building permit applications that have complied with the letter of the new definition, but may not be in keeping with traditional porch aesthetics. The proposed amendment would sharpen the definition of porch, which will protect against a porch becoming an enclosed room and is in keeping with the intent of an open-air porch. The new definition is very much like the code's definition of gazebo, which is another open-air structure. Without further ado, I move to approve this ordinance.
Thank you, Trustee Augustine, and thank you for your hard work on that. Any second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Trustee Gale. Any discussion? Trustee McCarty.
A couple of quick questions, I think. When we're talking about the air conditioning units in the side yard, the definition becomes legal conforming as opposed to legal non-conforming. What's the difference and why that choice?
There's no substantive difference with the nomenclature, but it instead of turning too many of the terms of the zoning code over to a different lexicon, we kept it the same. So there will still be non-conforming mechanicals in the required side yard for their lifetime, but the code change allows them. So.
And it's their life, and it can continue on in perpetuity, correct?
Correct. So typically, our nonconformities chapter of the zoning code would not allow removal and replacement of a nonconforming structure. which is why we've characterized it have, that they're considered legal conforming. They're current, don't meet code locational requirements.
And if they're within that, just as generally 5 feet is that setback more or less. If they're less than 5 feet from the property line, is our requirement that they should be removed immediately or should be removed at the end of their useful life?
So this amendment would allow their replacement in their
Well,
current
if they're,
location.
that's only if they're 5 feet or more from the property line,
No,
right?
if they do not meet the current if they do not meet the locational requirement, if they're 3 feet, say, from the property line, it could be replaced so long as the homeowner document that it was in existence in its current location as of this date.
And that same is true for like a front yard or a front side yard?
I believe it's just the interior side.
That's right.
Just the interior side?
It's not the same.
And so if they're in one of the front or the interior side, the front,
Interior
No, I'm
side.
sorry, it would be any locational requirement. So regardless of its placement, if there's an air conditioning unit that is improperly placed now, and it's existing now, this amendment would allow it to be replaced, so long as when the homeowner does ultimately come in for 5 years from now, they can document that it was there on
Right,
today's
but
date.
your question included new facilities in like the front yard or corner.
no. If someone right now has a air conditioner in their front yard, that
Yes.
could remain.
That's
Yes.
right.
Says any mechanical equipment existing as of March 8th not meet the locational requirement. So
Okay.
any location.
Provided they got a permit when it was installed originally,
No.
No,
No.
even if they didn't get a permit originally.
right. So the Plan
Wow.
Commission discussed this at length when they were talking about what that appropriate be and whether someone could document whether they had appropriate permits. And ultimately, because so many homeowners have lived in the village for less than 20 years, they ultimately felt that it might be difficult for people to document based on an earlier date whether the air conditioning properly.
Okay. And then another, just quickly, the solar panel, one, I'm glad to see that we are looking at that. And one of the things that comes up most often is they're not allowed on the front of the house, except if the front of the house is facing south. And we know in LaGrange that very few houses face south because of the way our streets are laid out. So for those that are wondering why we would do that, that's why. It's a very limited exception. What was the Plan Commission's discussion on that, and did they discuss it at all with the EQC?
So the southern-facing exception is existing in our code now. That would not be changed. The addition was to allow the solar panels on accessory structures, and it came up as a result of inquiries we've gotten on people would want to put them on their detached garages, but it wasn't clearly allowed for in the code to put them on an accessory structure. The Plan Commission didn't have extensive deliberation about that provision. I think they generally felt that it seemed like a good idea and recommended it.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you, Trustee McCarty. Any other comments? Seeing none, I'd ask Clerk Burns for a roll call vote.
Trustee Katina.
Aye.
Trustee McCarty.
Aye.
Trustee McGee.
Aye.
Trustee Gale.
Aye.
Trustee Augustine.
Aye.
And that passes unanimously. Is there anyone in the audience that is here and would like to address the board on a matter that is not on tonight's agenda? Please come to the microphone, introduce yourself.
trustee, Louis Gale, in advocating to award the project to a local company and workforce. The position of the village attorney that the Illinois Preference Act does not apply to the Grange Water Tower is not shared by the Illinois Department of Labor. When contacted by email about the Grange Water Tower project, IDOL's division manager, Mr. Robert Trellises, stated, "That's not correct," and I'm quoting, "That's not correct. Any project, municipal or state, that uses taxpayer dollars is subject to the Illinois Preference Act. You can send this email to the municipality, and if they'd like, I will address them on this matter." I would also like to point out a segment of the IDOL press release, which also includes a quoted statement from Illinois Attorney General Kwame Raoul. I provided handouts for those who wish to read them. As the nation faces record levels of unemployment, the people of Illinois should be assured that government is using all available tools to put Illinois residents back to work. End quote. Attorney General Raoul said, quote, the employment of Illinois workers on Public Works Act requires contractors on public works projects to prioritize Illinois workers, and my office stands ready to work with the Department of Labor to enforce the law and ensure that public works projects, which are funded by Illinois taxpayers, are completely using the best workforce in the country. End quote. Followed by, the law is intended to ensure that projects funded using public dollars employ Illinois residents. That includes public works projects that are funded in whole or in part with state funds or funds administered by the state of Illinois. Keep in mind that employing local workers who reside in Illinois means sales taxes, property taxes, income tax, as well as participating in local economy for a lifetime adds up to significantly more than $26,000 in sales tax Mr. Victor Boussat and 7 brothers claim they contribute. Lastly, I wanted to thank the board for entertaining future discussions and considerations had at the last meeting regarding the impact of hiring local businesses and workers. It's refreshing to see LaGrange being conscious of the importance of hiring locally and the impact that it has for not only LaGrange, but Illinois as a whole. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your comments, and also thank you for your advocacy on behalf of your members. It's appreciated. Please, next person, wait 1 minute and then come up. Thank you.
My name is Joe Cordero, and I represent the Coalition for a Fair and Safe Workplace. I am also part of Painters District Council 14. I do not live in LaGrange, but my family and I do spend a good amount of time here, whether dining in one of your great restaurants, shopping, or taking my kids to get ice cream. My wife and I even consider moving. I watched the meeting live on the 22nd and was a little confused that a great town such as LaGrange is willing to do business with 7 brothers. I feel the board made a decision with incomplete and incorrect information. According to the IEPA Title 35, Section 652.220 under corrosion prevention at community water tower supplies states, a community water supply must use protective coating personnel to carry out corrosion prevention and mitigation methods. I encourage you, if you do care for the people of LaGrange, to ask Mr. Vuvaj for their employees' CAF certification. And if they do not have this, according to the IEPA, to reconsider 7 brothers. It is important to remember that the coatings applicator is the only one who can control quality through proper surface preparation, application of the coating, or lining application. A knowledgeable inspector can only check for current surface preparations if they are present during the process. If not, they, like you, must rely on the integrity of the contractor. I understand following Illinois Preference Act, you may be limited to only 4 contractors. That may be scary, but let me reassure you, these 4 contractors have an accredited apprenticeship program with continuing education. That said, it is important to note the Illinois Municipal Code on Public Works procurement requires the bidder and all bidder subcontractors must participate in an applicable apprenticeship program and training programs approved and registered with the United States Department of Labor Bureau of Apprenticeship and Training. I would also like to encourage the board to consider a responsible bidder ordinance that other towns have adopted to help ensure your city hires only responsible contractors providing the highest quality of work. efficiently, safely, and on time and on budget. Lastly, I want to inform the board Seven Brothers has over three wage violations sent to the Department of Labor, and they are currently being reviewed. In addition, if they are found guilty, they will be debarred from working on any public works projects in Illinois for up to 4 years. Does this seem like this is the type of company LaGrange wants to do business with just because you want to save a little money? We strongly urge you to revoke this contract with Seven Brothers Painting. This is your constituents, their family, and their children. I hope the LaGrange Village boards consider all these factors involved, not just the bottom line. Too often consider only the cheapest price has led to disaster for many public works or public water systems. This important decision about community water system and its integrity will make LaGrange stronger and protect your citizens' health and safety. Please make the right one. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cordero. Thank you for your words, and thank you and your family for shopping and dining in LaGrange. It's appreciated. Yep, I got it. Thank you. Please.
My name is Tom Carroll. I live in LaGrange. I'm with these two guys, and I think they said enough. If we can't keep it local, what's the point, you know? If you want to go outside, whatever. I know unions have a bad name, but not everybody's bad. That's all I gotta say.
Thank you, Mr. Carroll. And I can assure you, unions do not have a bad name in the village of LaGrange. We support unions 100%. But thank you for your comments, and thank you for speaking today. Any other comments? Seeing none, has anybody submitted a written comment?
No public comments were received.
Thank you. At this time, I would ask if there's any trustee comments. Seeing none, I would ask if there's a motion to adjourn.
Like to move to adjourn?
Thank you, Trustee McCuddy.
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Kutinek. And a voice vote on that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. And the meeting has been adjourned at 8:24. Please be safe and have a good night. Thanks.